My name's Christine Feltham, and we're here to talk about Primodos and the effect that it's had on my mum, my whole family, and me specifically, and hopefully answer any questions that might be useful.
Would you like to tell us how it's affected your family, and your family? Would you like to tell us a few minutes?
Yeah. It's hard to know where to start, really. Sorry, I thought my thoughts were more organised than this. Well, I mean, my right arm is missing, just literally just below the elbow. I've got what would have been thumb and fingers. It's quite fascinating, but that's what always made me think that there was perhaps a reason for my limb being missing. My parents, we all were told it's just one of those things, these things happen, it's just a congenital birth defect, and you probably never know why. So when we found out about Primodos just a couple of years ago with the promotion for the Sky documentary and things, and I was sort of I took that. It was a bit of a shock. We got our medical records. It was one of the first things we did was get our medical records for that period. So yeah, we've just been trying to sort of get to grips with all of it since then, haven't we, really? I mean, what can I say? It's difficult. I suppose not knowing that there was a reason for it, you make your peace with things, and if there's nothing to blame, then there's no point getting angry, there's no point feeling sorry for yourself. You just got to get on with things. You know, I mean, life is harder if you've only got one limb. A prosthetic is useful, but it's not as good as having two hands. This is the bottom line. You know, you are treated differently. There's no two ways about that. But again, it's just something that you get used to, get on with, and I've never really found there's much point in grumbling too much, because generally it doesn't help anything. But no, life hasn't been, you know, everything's been that bit more difficult. Learning to swim was more difficult. Learning to ride a bike was more difficult. I mean, I've always found a way, I think it's fair to say.
Yes, yeah.
But I think that's probably just more my stubborn nature than anything else, you know. But no, I mean, I think I've always felt quite guilty, because I think I know my mum and dad have always felt that, or wondered if it was something that they did, if it was their fault, something genetic, or you know, something that I know mum's always thought, was it something she did in pregnancy that might have caused it? I mean, even if there was, I would never have, it wouldn't have been we wouldn't have fallen out over it, do you know? But it's still strange it's a relief and another set of complications to find out that you've gone from nothing to pinpoint it to that. And it's, yeah.
For me, finding out it's Primodos is the most horrific thing I think I've ever been through in my life. To think that somebody did this to me on purpose. They knew what they were doing when they gave me that drug. The doctor that gave it to me, I had all my life since I was a child. I would never, he just took these tablets out of his drawer and said, take these. And I wouldn't have questioned him. I wouldn't have, you know, especially back in those days, I wouldn't have asked him any questions. And to know that just taking those 2 tablets caused this, and all the complications and heartbreak ever since, is soul destroying. It's devastating, and that's really how I feel about it. I know it's an answer, but it's not an answer that I wanted, or.
Well, again, it's not helpful, is it?
No, it's not helpful at all.
Just another set of complications, really. But I mean, obviously it's not. I mean, it's not just my arm. Sorry, I suppose because that's the visible part, you know. So, but I mean, I've had intestinal sort of gastrointestinal problems since forever, really. Just forever.
She was a small child.
Gynecological problems. Had a hysterectomy a couple of years ago. Nearly 3 years ago now. And I mean, my hysterectomy was just prior to finding out about Primodos. So, like, you know, that was all done, and then I've sort of, great, you know. I've suffered from depression, I think, pretty much my entire life. Now I look back, you know, with hindsight, I was.
Even when she was young at school, she suffered from depression.
I always just wanted to be at home. I never wanted to be anywhere else. I hated school. I hated being different, I think, was a lot of it. But I was very clingy. I just wanted to be with my mummy. And yeah, you know, I just always, again, one of those things. I was an old kid, whatever. But no, I've sort of come to realise that I think I was probably just, for always being depressed, effectively, which is not, you know. So again, it's one of those things you learn to live with. You try and manage as best you can, but it's not great. I recently had my referral with clinical genetics, and as requested by the MHRA, and the geneticist did say to me, sort of looked at Primodos and she said the ingredients she said yes, it's likely that it would give you a very strong predisposition to depression and things. So it's just like it feels a little bit like it's sort of doomed. I know that sounds really, you know, how I feel about it kind of is a bit of a roller coaster. You know, there's days that I can kind of, and then there are days that I could cheerfully strangle somebody. It's just like, why? To what end? What was this all about? Was it about money? Was it about experimenting on people? I don't understand when question marks were raised so early on. Why was it still being prescribed in 1971? You know, it's a lot to deal with. But all of these things, I just thought I was unlucky. You know, I just happened to have one arm, and I happened to have terrible gynecological problems, and, you know, gastrointestinal problems, and suffered from abscesses. I've had so many operations with, and I mean, I never thought they were all connected. Would never have thought they were.
So moving on to what about the future? What are your hopes or concerns for the future?
I worry as I get older. I have my bouts of depression, when they come on, they last longer and they're worse than they have been for about the last 10 years or so. They've been gradually getting, each bit is a bit harder to get out the other side. That terrifies me, that frightens me. I'm on my own, I've got kids, I've got my mum and dad, got my brother, they're brilliant. But from that perspective, there's going to come a point when I am on my own, and that, sorry. It obviously worries me more than I thought it did. But you know, there's that. But there's also the physical side of it as well. You know, I've already got musculoskeletal problems, my neck, my shoulders. Again, I'm on my own. I don't know. You know, I manage, and come hell or high water, I will usually find a way to do what I need to do. But 9 times out of 10, that's with a bit of help. You know, what happens next? Where is that help going to come from when I've worn her out as well? So yeah, I do worry about the future. I do worry what's going to happen. Again, the more I learn about this delightful product, the more red flags seem to raise. I mean, I read recently the components can indicate high risk for sort of breast cancer. I mean, I know these days are saying 50% of us will get cancer at some point, but it's still, you know, it's just like another shovel on some more odds sort of thing. So, yeah, as I say, on a good day, I can think, oh well, nobody knows what the future holds, and because we don't, and you know, that's it, that's life, and you know, could get hit by a bus tomorrow, because I could. But if I don't, yeah, I do worry about what's next, or what else I've got to look forward to.